Greetings friends, it's Victor here and welcome back to another video. I am now 1 year, wow, I cannot believe it's been a year, 1 year on low-dose testosterone, here to tell you all about the past year being on HRT. But before we get started, you know the drill, go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, like the video, all that good stuff. Okay, so just a little bit of logistical information here. I started low-dose testosterone with 1 pump a day of gel that I applied to my shoulders for the first month. After that first month, I moved up to 2 pumps a day of that same low-dose testosterone gel, 1 pump to each shoulder each morning. Then around, I want to say it was like 7 or 8 months, I think-ish, I switched from gel to injections. So I actually started using an auto-injector device at a dose of 50 milligrams per half milliliter syringe per week. So that's 1 injection a week, 50 milligrams. And I have been very, very happily on that auto-injector device setup for the past several months now. Okay, with that out of the way, if you have any questions about any of that kind of stuff, I've done previous videos, or if you have specific questions, feel free to drop them in the comments and I'll be happy to answer them. But I'm gonna go ahead and move on to just overall the changes that I have seen over the course of the past year being on T. First and foremost, by far the most dramatic change I have seen in myself is just my confidence and my comfort with being myself and with being perceived by others and being in public and being able to speak and gesture and carry myself and communicate in a way that feels comfortable and not like I want to hide under a rock and die. So yeah, that is a huge, huge thing for me. I think just I don't know if it's the combination of my voice changing or knowing that people externally perceive me in a more masculine direction, or whether it's something hormonal or chemical in terms of brain chemistry stuff, or some combination of all of the things. But I definitely feel a noticeable difference in my mental health, in my general emotional stability, in my confidence, and in how I feel about myself. That I wouldn't say that I was in a bad place necessarily prior to starting T, but oh my goodness, I feel so good and stable and healthy right now. And I don't think that I really understood what stable or healthy necessarily looked like or meant, because I haven't really ever before experienced this level of yeah, this is me and that's okay. So yeah, that's definitely the biggest thing by far. Again, I don't think that I was mentally unstable or mentally not healthy before. I just think that it takes it to a whole new level, just being myself in a way that I don't think pre-testosterone me would have understood. Okay, so there have been a number of physical changes that have come with the being on testosterone territory. Most of those areas are things that people, I feel talk about quite often. So things like body hair growth, it grows in a little bit thicker and a little bit darker. And I'm still clearly not a super hairy person, nor do I strive to be. But it is something where I have to keep up with my grooming, or it just gets out of hand much quicker than it would have pre-testosterone. I generally have all of the gross boy smells, so when I go to the gym and work out, or if I I don't know, I'm just walking across town and happen to sweat, I will smell much worse than I would have pre-testosterone. No surprises there. But when I go to the gym, I actually have to shower after going to the gym, whereas before it was kind of a negotiable thing. I might not have to shower after the gym if I played my cards right, whereas now go to the gym, it's over, I've got to shower. That also goes for urine. My urine smells a lot stronger, body odor, sweat. I feel I haven't been able to smell my head/hair, but I feel I just generally am on a very consistent shower every day kind of schedule. Whereas before that was a little bit more negotiable, where I felt it would be somewhat acceptable to go every other day if I needed to, whereas now it's I feel it would be disrespectful to other people for me to go about my life not showering every day. So yeah, take that for what it's worth. For me, a very large subset of body changes is specifically related to gym performance and ability to develop and maintain muscle mass. So I am someone that goes to the gym on a very consistent schedule, and I have a pretty I don't know, well, I would like to think well thought out hypertrophy, strength training kind of regimen setting up, set up for myself. And so I am someone that like, I know what I was lifting before testosterone. I know what I lift now, and I can kind of feel like I know what it is to like be in like a workout routine that is like not like stagnant, I guess. And I can definitely say that it is so much easier for me to have a good workout and to, over the long term, continue to make progress. So I have still not hit a plateau since starting testosterone, whereas before testosterone, I would like, after maybe 3 months of like intense, like rigorous training, like would consistently hit plateaus. And I know that there are like, over the long term, you can bust through those plateaus, and like I tried what I thought was everything in the book to be able to bust through those plateaus, and it was just not happening. Like after like ramping up my training, doing like an escalate, de-escalate thing, it was a whole thing. But I have so far not found the same problem where I'm just like plateauing at some like max weight that I can bench, or do whatever. I think that it's easier to have a good workout in that I just generally feel like I have more energy, and if I don't, I feel like I can rally a little bit better. Like I can kind of just like, I don't know, and obviously like you need to be well rested and fed and like all of those things to have a good workout. But I feel like in general, I have fewer unproductive workouts than I did before starting testosterone. I think there's definitely a lot more muscular definition. Like I can tell that I am getting results because I see a change on a, several month basis, where like the photos of myself from like a year ago look totally different from photos of me now. Like I can definitely see some more muscular curvature and stuff, which is very, very nice. Not that I'm like necessarily like going out and like, I don't know, showing the world that sort of stuff, except you guys, you're special. But like for myself, like to be able to look at myself and be like, oh yeah, I look good today. That's just like a really nice feeling. I definitely feel stronger in general. Obviously, I can tell that I like lift more. Like for each of my compound and accessory exercises, I am clearly like lifting higher volumes, at higher weights than I was pre-testosterone. So no surprises there, but I can physically feel stronger where like I'll pick something up and I'll be like, oh, this is like a lot less effort than it would have been like a year ago. And like before I was a strong person, like I was a person that worked out and that like had muscle and like was strong. But like now it's just like things are more effortless, I think. And like I can like get in and like help lift the big heavy furniture. And like before I did that like as a like, hey, I can be helpful too and like I'm strong too, kind of thing. But like I would still like kind of break a sweat for those kinds of things. Whereas now like I can hop in and like help move furniture and like substantially like help the moving furniture go along without really like breaking a sweat too much. So yeah, it's a weird thing. It's a weird thing to be a little bit stronger, but it's definitely nice. I think there have also been some like mental / emotional / potential brain chemistry type changes going on. I think I feel very like consistent and level and even all the time. Not all the time, but like a lot of the time, which is really, really nice. I was by no means an unstable person or an emotional person before. I think I've always been very steady, but now I feel like there's like kind of a core to that steadiness. That's a very strange metaphor to describe emotions and like how I feel. But I will also say that I think I've gotten a lot better at being in touch with my feelings and actually feeling my feelings, and therapy has definitely helped a lot with that. But I think I'm also more comfortable beginning to express emotion, whereas before I feel like I was not comfortable expressing emotion like at all. Whereas now I'm like starting to like learn how to like express myself and feelings, like mostly to myself, like low-key in the watching Disney movies and like letting myself feel something when like the big moment comes kind of thing. Whereas before I would like shut that down immediately. But like we're maybe potentially starting to breach the emotional vulnerability with other people. Not quite there yet, but like we're getting there. I think most of that has to do with like the, again, increased confidence that has come with testosterone. I think a lot of it is that I feel like my masculinity is much less in question, and therefore I am okay with not like treating it like it's glass. I think before, like my masculinity was something that like was basically like no one acknowledged it. at all. And that was so frustrating to me that I felt like I had to like shelter and guard my masculinity in like kind of a toxic way, to be honest, for myself at least. Hopefully not for like other people in a like, this is how you have to be kind of way. But like for myself, it was like a, like I would feel weird about like watching movies with like a female main character with other people, because I felt like other people were projecting femaleness onto me like secondhand through the character. I don't know. It was a really weird thing. Whereas now I don't feel that like weird insecurity about like who I am in relation to like other people, I guess. Again, these are non-articulate thoughts, but I'm trying to convey just that like I feel more confident in my masculinity, and I feel like people like don't project femininity onto me as much anymore, which makes me more comfortable like being a more balanced human and not like treating my masculinity like it's fragile and like shoving away everything that is not masculine, if that makes sense. So I'm more comfortable with doing things like expressing emotion, which should not be associated strictly with femininity, and I hate that, but for me, that's what it felt like. So that was a very long, rambly tangent. Okay, the last thing I want to talk about is my voice, because this was probably my biggest anxiety going into HRT. I was very, very concerned with losing my singing voice, with losing my ability to perform music in general, and I was very concerned with not having a voice that I liked at the end of like whatever hormones were going to do to it. I will say that my current voice is not the voice that I dreamt that I might have. And I knew going into this that I would not have a Brendan Urie voice or a Josh Groban voice, and that is a-okay. That is okay. That was still my hope, and I definitely don't have that, which again, is okay. I think before starting testosterone, I had like a very decent like tenor range, and like kind of a nice falsetto, or sorry, head voice, I guess, that I never really used because it made me feel weird about like singing in that register. I currently do not have any control over any kind of falsetto. I've started to kind of be able to do a mixed voice, kind of on the upper end, which is really nice, but I don't have falsetto notes yet. Potentially not ever. So that's a little bit sad because I feel like I've lost a lot of my like mobility, and a lot of like my ability to like just kind of hum along to things like in the octave they were performed in because of that. But I do have basically a whole octave and a half, maybe 2 octaves, extra on the bottom end that I did not have before. It's definitely not 2 octaves, it's about 1.5 octaves. So I can kind of compensate for, you know, singing along to things or humming along casually to things by just dropping the octave, and that's not a problem. In terms of the range, my chest voice is essentially the same as it was before. So I can chest voice almost all the notes that I could chest voice before. It's just a lot harder and I fatigue more easily. So again, it's like I'm training my voice, I'm learning like what is the appropriate boundary here, it's just changing and I need to be gentle with it. And so I'm going very slow and steady with relearning my voice. I probably had a couple of chest voice notes, pre-transition, pre-testosterone that I don't currently have now, but it's probably only like 2 or 3 notes at the top there. I'm finding that it's still not super intuitive to be able to control my timbre, and to, I guess, kind of project in a big way. I have to really focus and it's not coming super naturally to me, which is, I think, just a training thing and again, a familiarity with my own voice. I had trained my voice for many years with my pre-transition voice and was very comfortable with it as an instrument, and I knew my way around it super well. And so I think it's just over the course of a year where that voice has been changing every single month for the past year, there's no possible way that I could have the same familiarity and same precision with it that I did with my pre-transition voice. And so it's just a little bit of growing pains there, I think. And I'm hoping that I'll eventually get back all of the control and all of the intuition that I had before. Kind of along with that intuition, I think before I was pretty good at sight reading, and like had a good muscle memory for like, oh, this is a B flat, this is where a B flat is in my voice, and I could just like sing it by just like feeling where it is, similar to like how I play the violin. Like my fingers know where to go. I don't look at them, I don't like need to like tune them to themselves, they know where to go. And pre-transition, pre-testosterone voice was like that. It could kind of just like hop to the pitches it needed to, no problem, it was great. Whereas now I don't really have that. So it's a lot more like I'm hearing the note that it needs to be, or like looking at the note it needs to be, and like having to like kind of slide my voice a little bit to kind of hone in on that pitch center, which is kind of frustrating just from like a musicianship standpoint, because I spent so many years, like literally as a music major, like doing musicianship classes to be able to train my voice to do what it needed to do. And now that I have switched it up on myself, I just don't have that level of precision and accuracy and speed with sight reading anymore. But again, hopefully this is something that as I continue to exercise my musicianship brain and my voice together, hopefully that's something that will come back. I think in general, my speaking voice sounds like, I don't know, like a trans guy. Like you can tell, like you can hear that there's not the space to resonate in the way that there would be in an AMAB body, right? I'm not horribly upset by that, and I can like choose to try to project more to kind of blend into the cis male territory better when it comes to vocal performance type things. It just takes more effort and more focus. And I think the lay person would not notice like the trans guy sound necessarily, because that's something that I think that like if you're a musician or someone like very in tune with like language or like orally in tune, you would notice. But I think the lay person that hasn't focused a large portion of their life on hearing things may or may not really pick up on that. I find that I'm much more comfortable speaking with a lot of inflection, and I kind of always have spoken. I won't say always. I started speaking with a lot of inflection toward the end of college several years ago, and I find that I'm now continuing to be more and more comfortable speaking with a lot of inflection and kind of conveying like tone and emotion and interest, like an oral intrigue that way, which is just nice to be able to feel expressive. I do find that my voice starts to fatigue if I've been using it a lot, which I'm not sure if that's kind of a byproduct of continuing to drop, or whether that's like just overuse and I haven't figured out quite the best way to position like everything physiologically in order to be optimized to not fatigue. So again, that's something that I'm feeling out and trying to just gently like teach myself how to do. Overall, I would say Testosterone, at least for myself, gets a 10 out of 10. It has made me so much happier a person, honestly, in a way that I don't think I really expected. I think I kind of went into it thinking that it might be something good for me and wanting to kind of just feel it out and see like, is this working? If so, let's keep doing it. If not, we'll get rid of it. And I don't think I realized just how much it would support my self-image and like my ability to like exist in the world as an individual and in relation to other people. And so it has been so good for me. Doesn't mean it's right for everyone. Definitely not. That's not what I'm saying. But for me, it's been definitely a good choice. All right, I hope that some of that information was at least a little bit helpful, even if somewhat rambly. Thank you so much for watching. It's been a wild year, and I'm sure it will be another wild year this year in 2022. All right, that is all I have for today. I hope that you are doing well and that you have an absolutely wonderful day. Until next time.